What is going on, y'all? This is the Caveman. I'm here with Football with Oz, Austin, for episode 66 of Against the Blitz. And we are recording fresh off of Monday Night Football, the doubleheader, the first of its kind for Against the Blitz. So we're going to grind this out. And we have a lot of energy because we're coming off of two pretty electric games. And yeah, I mean, there's just so much we're going to cover in this late night. I'm excited because, well, I'm excited. That's a strong word. I'm excited to talk about it, but I'm ready to, jump off my third story roof. Bills fan. So
you're flexing that money. I got three stories.
Oh no, I don't.
But
no, I
don't. But yeah, we've had a lot of stinkers lately on primetime games, but these were two beasts that came down to the wire, and you have a lot more unsavory opinions about at least one of these games than me, but it was just pure cinema on my perspective. Those were really, really fun games.
Yeah, I mean, from a football fan perspective, it was so fun watching two guys in Atlanta that were so good dominate. It's just fun watching talent on display. So I'll give it that. But yeah, from a Bills fan's perspective, this is the second week in a row that I was just left so aggravated from results of games that I felt like could have been avoided, not just in game, but from the preseason. Like there are issues that are rising for Buffalo that I felt like should have been addressed in the offseason. We talked about it thousands of times in the offseason, and now here we are in week 6, and there are issues that I mean, I can run down the whole list. I can run down from top to bottom, defense, offense. I don't think this is a staffing issue. People will yell for Babich. That's a new one. Joe Brady's catching some heat because he's had his team fumble 2 sweeps in back-to-back games. And McDermott, of course. But really, I think it's just a personnel problem. Like the issues that this team has come down to the talent on the roster and the lack thereof.
Yeah. I think like the most prevalent thing to me was I remember when we were doing like Super Bowl contenders versus playoff contenders versus like championship contenders. I remember not having the Bills quite in that Super Bowl contender territory because I just felt like they were missing the next piece. They were missing that downfield weapon they can go to. Like they just weren't, they didn't elevate their team from last year. We've talked tirelessly about that, but it happens again. Like Josh Palmer gets hurt and all of a sudden you can't move the ball. That can't be a thing. Like you cannot be relying on Josh Palmer to move the ball downfield. Like you need more than that. And Keon Coleman was drafted to do that. He is not that. He might have won 1 rep all game long. And then Shakir has to exist within the line of scrimmage. Dalton Kincaid was out. Dawson Knox looked like he was going to go on a monster game and then disappeared after that. So I don't know. I think it's just a problem when Josh Palmer getting hurt is like the reason why your offense stinks. That's not good.
Yeah, pretty much. Like this was the Texans game of 2025. Last year, the biggest blemish on Josh's MVP resume was that game against Houston where there were barely any points scored in that game, but Josh looked atrocious. They could not move the ball through the air. There was questionable play calling. It was just it was a really bad showing and one that made people question what the Bills really were. And that's what this game was. And as much as the defense got shredded early on, like Drake and Bijan had their way with a unit that just kept dropping like flies, one that was already hurt. Daquan Jones joined Anthony Richardson and fucking Charvarius Ward on the list of players injured in pregame, which is so bizarre. But they eventually, stiffen up. They made I think 6 stops in that game that didn't equate to a touchdown. I think there was only a field goal given up outside of the first 3 touchdowns, and the offense just couldn't move. And that's like what you said. Josh Palmer goes down. He hits the deep shot on the first play. The next drive, he gets hurt because he gets hip dropped. And now we're like, well, now what? Like, what do you mean now what? This is where you're supposed to have an answer. And the aggravating part is I've beaten the drum on this fucking podcast about how I hate the football player, Keon Coleman, so much because this was the one opportunity where we can expect him to emerge or him to grasp this, opportunity to step up. And it's not only does he not, but he's literally a non-factor, like invisible.
Yeah, that's the problem. It's like you're not expecting him to be Cortland Sutton immediately at like 22, 23 years old. You just want some kind of proof that he was worthy of a day 2 selection, let alone trading out of the first round to select your guy. And he is just as impactful, if not less, than Tyrell Shavers. Like, you need your second round pick, the guy that you had a first round pick grade on pretty much, to be impactful. And he's been the opposite of that outside of the Ravens game in week 1. So a lot of work left to do. And I know you've talked about it a little bit. Might be some trade deadline, emphasis now on finding a receiver, because there's a lot of them out there, a lot of them that are possibly looked to be dealt. And Buffalo should be the single biggest buyer for receivers right now.
If this staff and personnel wants to not be found under heavy fire and pressure by the end of this year, they have to make a move. Like, this was the game that showed the front office and staff that they need, if anything, just depth. They cannot rely on Josh Palmer alone to be the separation. It's like, yeah, in theory, it's fine if he's healthy, but now if he's gone and this is what the product looks like, you just need help. So
yeah,
you have to make a move. I would be very shocked if the Bills, past week 8 to whenever the deadline is, if they don't trade for anybody. I would be shocked. They were in this exact same situation last year and they made a move. So I fully expect them to be in the market. It's just I think it aggravates me that much more that we're in the position we're in right now. A, because it was so foreseeable. It was a likely outcome that we would be in this situation. But also B, we talked about it briefly, but during the offseason, I've become an uncle. I listen to the live, sports radio going to work. And I am, surprised by Brandon Beane's appearance on this radio show, blasting the show hosts about how they're criticizing the wide receiver room. It wasn't even actually a topic of conversation. Brandon Beane just got on the phone, barely said hello, and started just shredding these guys a new asshole on live television about a very fair question, about a very fair, issue with this team, potential problem with this team. And now here we are in week 6, and that exact issue is showing it's rearing its ugly head. And now Brandon Beane should be very apologetic. Like, if I was Brandon Beane, I would be like, oh shit, like, I feel like a fucking asshole now. So I think that's what bothers me that much more, is how he handled that.
Yeah. And like I just took a look at it now. The names that are kind of being floated around as possible names would fit the Bills so well. Chris Olave, a downfield speedy presence that can get open. Rashid Shaheed, the exact same thing. Imagine how much one of those two would make an impact immediately in Buffalo, let alone someone like Jacoby Myers, like somebody that can win routes by themselves without having to be schemed open or have a perfect ball on them. It would feel like Stephon Diggs is back, having any of those three back. And I don't think the price would be that crazy for him, especially with how much draft capital the Bills have had over the last couple seasons. Like, throw it out. Like, go get a good player. Like, I can't watch the Josh Palmer trio anymore. We got to make a move.
Yeah, that's the thing too. It's, Brandon Beane has caught a lot of criticism about his drafting over the past couple of years, and especially his early round selections, and how they feel like their impact is minimal or it takes them a while to come along. And at what point do you just say fuck them picks? Like, the fuck them picks mantra is so valid when you're in a position to, win, when you're looking to really get over the hump. And I was talking to my friends about it right after the game tonight. It's like, we're trying to win by playing Moneyball. It's like, we don't need to be cheap anymore. You have something to prove. You have a championship to win. Josh Allen's only going to be as good as he is for, a few more years. Like, if there's not a time to to sell a few premium picks, then there never will be a better time. So they need to just stop being stingy.
Yeah, I mean, it's the exact same way how they got Stephon Diggs, who, is one of the most impactful Bills in recent memory, really outside of Josh Allen. Like, he is the most impactful player I've seen on the Bills in a long time. Like, he was one of the best route winners in one-on-one I've ever seen. So it's just wild that they had such success with that. And like, they're like, oh, we only traded like one pick for him. Like, that's pretty easy to do. But now they're just afraid again to trade even a lesser pick for a guy like an Olave. It's weird. It's really weird how they're so gun shy on that. Like, they haven't messed up. Like, they've only found success doing that, which is why you'd think that they'd just be willing to do it again. But for some reason, they've got the yips. They've became gun shy. I don't know why.
Yeah, gun shy is a good word, and I think part of it too is they are very. I lost my train of thought. But yeah, I think your point is valid. It's almost like they have become very gun shy, and I think the Von Miller transaction had something to do with that. It backfires, but I think it was looking like it was going to work out before the injury. So I feel like that's revisionist history to try and use that as a reason to be afraid of making another big move.
Yeah. I mean, not to spend 1 million hours on this game, because I'm sure you could, but even speaking of Von Miller, I kind of forgot he was a Washington Commander who also played tonight. That we kind of delayed our start to finish that end, because we both agreed if that game was boring, we would start a little bit earlier. But that game was actually not boring at all, and it came down to the very last play. A Jake Moody game-winning field goal. Stop me if you've ever heard that before. You haven't, by the way. He'll never stop me. That was insane. Like, the Commanders had this game in their paws. Jaden Daniels muffed the handoff in the rain. Bears had a couple runs, really good runs by DeAndre Swift. This game is like this is not Earth. This is not my this is not my universe. DeAndre Swift runs all over a team, and Jake Moody kicks the game-winning field goal in the rain. This is not real life. But I'm glad it happened. That was awesome.
If you need like another example to prove like how weird the season has been, like that game was a perfect example. Like, we got everything that we shouldn't have. Like, Jaden Daniels has been, at least last year specifically, he was good at protecting the ball. This year, in this game specifically, did he throw a pick too? I was trying to pull up the
he threw it perfectly in stride to Jaquan Brisker. It couldn't have been a better throw if he was trying to throw to a guy in white.
Right. So it's like Jaden Daniels, who's been very good at protecting the ball. He has 2 turnovers. Like you said, DeAndre Swift has he has over 150 yards from scrimmage and a touchdown. Jake Moody, who was signed, was it today, right?
I don't know when it was, but it was way too recently, and he's just way too bad. And the field was soaked. They were in a monsoon, and somehow they are able to run down the field efficiently and effectively and kick a good, crispy, game-winning field goal. It was wild.
It was, and this was a game that the Bears like shot themselves in the foot during like time and time again. And you talk about the Jaden Daniels turnovers, but the Bears took tons of costly penalties. There was a Rome Odunze touchdown wiped off the board. I think there was a DJ Moore touchdown wiped off the board as well, or he wiped a touchdown off the board with a penalty. I can't remember. I was too busy watching the Bills, unfortunately.
Just rewatching, yeah.
But they just really cost themselves a number of times, but they found a way. They found a way. They capitalized on the fumble by Jaden Daniels, and Caleb Williams led a good drive that led for a game-winning field goal. That last drive was impressive. They were able to get DeAndre Swift in space, pick up a few first downs, and really get them in Moody's comfortable range, which we aren't sure what that really is, but at least it wasn't a 50-plus yarder. So that was great execution on their part.
Yeah, it was awesome. But yeah, I was listening to the interview after the game, and they were talking to Caleb, and he said he felt comfortable under 65 yards for Jake Moody. So I don't know about that, but I think he was just trying to gas up his teammate. But yeah, like it was still crazy. Like that kick was good from really anywhere they wanted to try. It was nuts for somebody that's had so much like mental problems. Like for him, like he has been under as much scrutiny as a kicker can go under. He has been under that and more. I mean, he was a third round pick in the draft. I believe he was a third round pick as he was drafted in the same round as Cameron Latu, the tight end, who also has done nothing for the Niners. And somehow Moody was hated more, even though Latu doesn't even play. And he was booed out of San Francisco, booed out of everywhere. And now he might be a Chicago hero, which is crazy to say.
Yeah, the kickers probably go through the most wild career arcs of any player. Like quarterbacks and kickers, they just can go from being the worst player ever to being the best player ever to being the worst player ever again. That would be Geno Smith. That would be the arc of Geno, which we'll get to later. But
yeah,
it's just awesome to see though, because at the end of the day, like for someone like myself, at least kicker, I kicked for a short time in high school, and I hated it. Like, quite frankly, I didn't want to do it, but I did it every single time. It looked like we were about to kick a field goal. I'm like, I don't want to do it. I don't want to go out there. Like, I'm freaking out in my own head. And I was like, okay, but there was nothing more pressuring than kicking that damn ball. And I feel for those guys. So for a guy like Jake Moody, who really was probably the most hated man in the Bay Area for quite some time, yeah, maybe he'll get some revenge on the Niners. I don't know if they played this year, but that would be.
He kind of already has. Like that kind of already is.
Yeah.
Like they all hate him. They're like they're mad that he made that. They're like, you couldn't do that for us in good 75 and sunny conditions, but you have to sink a field goal in a hurricane. That's ridiculous. But good for him. There really wasn't even that much going on in that game. Really, it was just teams shooting each other in the foot over and over and over again, and Chicago just finally nutted up and made some professional drives down the end and won the game. It was awesome.
Yes, it was. But we'll check out some of the other games earlier in the week, ones that we actually had some time to prepare for. And we'll rewind the clocks all the way to Thursday night. And the Eagles ruined probably a lot of people's survivor pools going against the Malik Neighbors-less New York Giants. And we're looking at a team now that not only lost, they lost a couple weeks ago. We thought, okay, they looked bad, but Tampa is still a solid team. Tampa still had to come back in that game and squeak out a win. They can't lose back-to-back games, right? At least that's what I was thinking. But lo and behold, they go out to MetLife. Jalen Carter doesn't play, which probably was a smart decision, but it ultimately bit them in the ass because their play up front was atrocious. Their defensive backs were atrocious. There was not a single – I don't think there was a single bright spot for the Philadelphia Eagles, which is insane.
No. And, like, Saquon looked good in his 12 carries that they gave him, and they just gave up. Like, there is no bigger winner than your uncle that doesn't follow football and just likes Dart and Scatabo. Like, he is the happiest guy alive right now. He thinks he's better than Genty. He is so happy right now. But, I mean, he looks like it. I'm not saying he is, but, like, right now, Scatabo is proving every single fan right, which I love. I love because he's doing so much better than I thought he could possibly be this early. And Dart looks better than a lot of people thought he could be this early. And it's not pretty, it's not perfect, but he's winning in his way, which is all that like you could ever ask for a rookie quarterback to do. Beat the Eagles.
Yeah, I thought Dart, for most of that game played a very rookie. He looked like a rookie a lot of the time. And what rookies usually look like when they're athletic like Dart is it's just, a lot of, playmaking. They're not hitting their drops and getting balls out on time. It's a lot of like, second guessing and, escaping pockets and, running for first downs. And Dart was doing a lot of that. But there were a couple throws where he had to throw hot. They were sending 5 or 6 guys at him, and he was able to make the read under pressure and deliver. There was a throw to Theo Johnson. He ran like an out route on like 3rd and 8, 3rd and 9, something like that I remember. And that was the first play of that game that I was like, wow, that was actually a very mature and very promising play from Dart, because early in the game, it's like, you can make guys miss in the backfield and run for 10 yards. Like, that's great. But those are things that who knows what they mean for your future going down the road. Like, we've seen this story time and time again with rookie quarterbacks that look good, that can move, but that doesn't mean much for the future. But there were throws that he made that made me think like, wow, okay, Dart might actually have it. And they end up winning the game, which in itself was enough to convince myself, at least.
Yeah. And I think like there's a lot of players that make fans mad, but no player made fans more mad than Adoree Jackson in this game, because not only does he just kind of suck now, but the effort is also just butt cheeks. And it is just hilarious to me. Not hilarious because it sucks to see your team lose twice in a row, but Philly fans kind of just had this idea that anyone that they put in, after losing guys like Darius Slay, after losing guys like Milton Williams, they're like, we're not going to lose a step. We have a farm system going on. Like, everyone we put in is going to be just as good as the guys that left. But that's just not the case. And a lot of the guys they're bringing in are not doing as well. Like, their edge rushers suck. Like Zadarius Smith, who has been their best one, and he just quit. He's out of the NFL. He retired. Like, he was the best thing they had going for him. And now they're back to like Jalix Hunt and Nolan Smith, who has kind of been a non-factor this season. So really weird season for them. They have no momentum. And I did predict that this team would be worse than last year. I predicted they'd be like an 11-12 win team, but they're not even looking like that right now. Like, they legit do not look good. So unless they get some new offensive play calling, unless they get some of their guys healthy, I don't feel good predicting them to win any games.
No, not at all. And, the edge rush play was bad. Like you said, the defensive back play was bad. Like, you can't continue to roll Keely Ringo and Adoree Jackson on the field and hope to win games. But you also can't hope to win games when your edge rushers can't get, opposing quarterbacks on the ground and are getting steamrolled in the run game. It just feels like there are a lot more issues than one Band-Aid can just fix, which I felt like might have been the case for the past couple of years, where maybe they can just make one trade or make one move that can shore things up. But this year, I don't even think, like, hypothetically speaking, I think the Eagles could be Trey Hendrickson suitors, but I still don't even know if that would be enough to kind of mask the issues that they're having in the secondary or really help them stop the run, especially if Jalen Carter can't stay on the field. So this is really a put up or shut up moment for Sirianni again in his career. It's like, what are you going to do when your team is spiraling? Your coordinators can't really seem to get their personnel straightened out. Like, this is where I think the Dan Campbells kind of figure it out. But if Sirianni wants to be that kind of coach, how is he going to respond? And I think we'll see, but I don't have confidence in him like that.
No, especially after seeing how, like, we thought that the Broncos loss was a reasonable loss. Like, they're a good team, but how they played against the Jets really makes you rethink that a little bit, because that may have been the ugliest football game played in the 2025 season so far, because Broncos and Jets, I feel bad for anybody that like purposely woke up, got excited, started their day early, brushed their teeth early, ate an early breakfast, and watched that game, because that was bad, especially if you're on the East Coast and you're a Jets fan and you got like to look forward to seeing Justin Fields throw for like 35 yards until like the last drive of the game. That was a pitiful performance from the Jets. And the Broncos don't get to feel good about it either, because they barely beat that pitiful team.
No, like, there's not a single winner from this game. I don't care what the scoreboard says. No one won that game.
No, they don't get no. I'm taking L's and putting them on both box scores.
If you could give two teams a loss in one game, this would be it. Like, the only reason the Broncos won this game is because Justin Fields was a non-functioning human on the planet. Mm-hmm. Like, it wasn't even like he couldn't even play quarterback. He just couldn't like think. And that's what killed him. Like, I admittedly, as everyone likes to bring up in the Discord, said that I think the Jets could comfortably finish second at the AFC East before the season started. But I guess I didn't realize, I mean, I did, but I guess I underestimated how bad Fields really can be. Like, we've seen bad, but this feels like basement level low. You cannot tell me that a quarterback that has a dead cap hit of $22 million next season can have less net passing yards than zero, less net passing yards than Kendall Hinton did when he started for the Broncos during COVID. That should not be possible. And this is exactly what I hate about like the average athlete couldn't like gain a yard or pass for a yard in the NFL. It's like, yeah, I can. Just because Justin Fields makes it look impossible doesn't mean I couldn't fucking do it.
I bet I couldn't. I bet I'd be really scared the entire time. But there's times like, I don't know. Like I feel like I can execute like an open drag route. I don't know. Like, I feel like I could.
Hard.
But there were some plays in that game where like even old Fields would not have messed up. It's like I said before, like he has the yips. Like he used to be, of all things, confident and smooth. That was all. Like he always was. That was never in question. He just made really bad decisions and didn't see the field well. But now he's not even like confident. Like he's not taking off and running anymore. He only had like 5 or 6 rushing attempts. He didn't even try to get out. He just like felt the pressure coming and crumbled on himself. And he kept like double clutching all of his passes. Like he'd go to throw and would stop himself because he's so afraid of throwing a pick. That's like been a big discourse for him so far this year, is the fact that he hasn't thrown an interception yet. Some people think it's good, and some people are saying it's just like they want him to throw picks. He's not being aggressive enough. He's not putting the ball downfield. He's just throwing to a wide open guy, or he's getting sacked. And that's a pretty big problem.
He couldn't even do that right. Like there were a few reps where he had Garrett Wilson wide open. There were easy buttons, and he couldn't even hit those. And he got Garrett killed. Killed a few times. Like there were moments in this game where, like you said, old Fields at least would have made those plays. Like he was at least accurate. Like when he was a pure passer at Ohio State, it looked like he was accurate. Like that was one thing he truly was able to put to his name, and he just doesn't even have that at all anymore. He's just a complete shell of his former self, and it's quite a shame because I really don't want to root against Fields, but the fact that you can't be trusted to convert an average like 3rd and 6, like I think there were like 8 or 9 third downs that were for more than 6 yards in this game, and I don't know if they converted one. Like I don't know what the exact stat was, but I think the longest play of the game was like 11 yards, and the second longest was 8. And then that 4th and 8 was what they decided to go for, which was criminal, by the way. So, and the halftime thing too. I don't know if you caught the whole debacle at halftime, but
that was some of the worst, laziest, scared coaching I've ever seen. Like you're at like the 50-yard line, and you have like 30 seconds on the game clock going into halftime. And you just refuse to run a play because you're so scared of giving the ball away. That's so stupid. You don't attack. Like I know for a fact Fields has a strong enough arm to get that ball into the end zone. Or you can run some kind of lateral play and just tell your team like, hey, don't turn it over. Like don't throw it mindlessly, but like try and get some yards here. And instead you just don't try anything. And you're losing. I get it if you're winning and you don't want to, give them a pick 6 or something, but they had nothing to lose, and they still didn't even try. It was definitely one of those like Anthony Richardson kind of like tapping himself out of the game type of just soft football moments that people will have in like the back of their minds for a very long time.
Yeah, it's an indictment on Glenn. Like these are characteristics of an Aaron Glenn organization that I didn't think we would see. Like the whole Aaron Glenn shtick was tough, hard-nosed, like not putting up with bullshit. And he is just folded, man. He has been a sponge. He is letting shit happen that should never, like that halftime thing, I don't think is something that, from my understanding, an Aaron Glenn team would let happen. And, between the halftime bullshit and then Garrett Wilson, of course, getting into it with Glenn a little bit, and what we alluded to earlier, the decision to the decision to go for it on 4th and 8 when Justin Fields had 9 sacks, could not throw the ball under pressure for his life, and you choose to go for it instead of kicking a 62-yard field goal in 2025. That was honestly, if they would have fired Aaron Glenn after that game, I wouldn't have blamed them. It was that embarrassing.
And the Broncos were shooting themselves in the foot at every single possibility they had. Like, they were gifted a win here. The Jets were gift wrapped a win, and they just refused to take it. It was one of the dumbest, worst losses of the year.
It was. And it's a shame because the Jets defense finally played well. We talked about it last week where it felt like the Jets defense had been the problem, like giving up 30 points. They're down 21 halfway through the first quarter. It's like, what the hell is going on with this supposed stingy Jets defense? They finally put on a performance that is expected of them. And the offense plays so bad to the point where they can't even overcome it with a safety. And it was just, and that's Bo Nix, man. It wasn't his fault, this game specifically, but man, that offense looked uninspiring.
Yeah, they've looked uninspiring all year long, and whether or not the result is there, that's one thing. But they're just frankly not a very good offense right now. It's super weird. After all the hype they had all off season, they have no spark. And we've talked about it plenty of times, but the fact that they're treating 24-year-old RJ Harvey like he's a developmental player they can let sit on the bench for 3 years is really, really odd to me. Same with, they finally let Evan Ingram go, and he was their best player on offense, by far. It was a weird game, but yeah, definitely a double L game, in my opinion.
Oh, yeah. Well, if there was a game to give out double wins for, it was the Cardinals and I couldn't remember who they faced. The Cardinals and the Colts.
No.
Because
give them both losses also.
No. There was one man in this game that deserves all the flowers that have ever grown on earth. My man, Jacoby Brissett. We finally see him start again. And what happens? He puts on a 300+ yard game with 2 or 3 touchdowns. I don't think what was the actual stat line? He threw for 320 yards and 2 touchdowns, which Kyler hasn't done since week 8 of 2022.
That's nuts.
That is nuts. So there are questions that should be asked. How is Jacoby Brissett just a top 16 quarterback, or is Kyler Murray that bad? Which is it?
I know the answer, and people will argue with me, and that's Jacoby Brissett owns Lou Anarumo. He owns him. He kills him every single time. I was so happy to face literally any quarterback on the Browns until Brissett would come out, and I'd be like, no. And then he would just kill us every single time. He beat us on the Patriots too. He just is the Lou Anarumo killer. And I talked tirelessly about Lou Anarumo today, especially going back in the film, and I saw wide receiver Ashton Doolin was playing defense, lined up over the right guard, and rushed the passer on a looper. It was the dumbest play I've ever seen. It didn't work, as you can probably imagine. And it was kind of just a really bad defensive performance from the Colts, allowing Bam, Zonovan Knight, and Michael Carter and Jacoby Brissett to march their way down the field at ease. Zay Flowers was eating. Michael Wilson made some plays. It wasn't just the studs. It was literally a bunch of guys that usually do not score fantasy points that were all scoring fantasy points. And it was so weird. But that's why I'm giving the Colts an L for that one. The Cardinals can have that win for all they want. That's a moral win for Jacoby Brissett and company. Weird win for the Colts. But Daniel Jones played fine. Jonathan Taylor and Tyler Warren looked awesome again. The defense, though, was struggling.
Yeah, it was. And I will say, I think I can appreciate the vision from Anarumo. From a Madden franchise professional, like myself, I think you got to understand that the looper just needs to be fast. Like the faster he gets over there, the better. And who better than Ashton Doolin to get the edge,
A corner, maybe
to potentially beat the running back to the spot for the protection. But on a real note, I think there's something to be said about this John Gannon Cardinals team that is coming off of a very ugly loss. And with a lot of injuries, they lose Marvin Harrison early. Kyler's not playing. For them to put up a fight against what has been one of the most efficient, well-oiled machines in football, I think that goes a long way, especially when a guy like Gannon was under heavy fire because of the way that not only that last game ended, but for how he handled the Amari DeMarcado situation. So there's finally some hope, but I think there's genuinely I'll ask you right now, is Kyler Murray the quarterback of the Cardinals in 2026?
Probably, because we've talked about it tirelessly where he's just too decent to get rid of, but he's not good enough to like label him your franchise. But there's things that he is capable of doing that most quarterbacks on the planet can't. It's just how often does it happen? And like you said, he hasn't had that type of performance since what you said, 2022. Mm-hmm. That's insane. Like that's actually beyond insane. And with the weapons that he has, the structure he has, he should be doing better. But he hasn't played bad enough to say, yeah, he's got to go.
Yeah. It just is like, at what point do you decide like this stagnant, endless loop of mediocrity? When does it end? Like what has to change? Because at some point something has got to change. But the final thing I wanted to laugh about with this game, not laugh about because it's not funny, but it is funny. Did you see the video of Charvarius Ward?
Getting knocked out by was that Drew Ogletree that he ran into and got knocked out by?
Yes, he literally laid out. He got smoked and then laid there like he got hit by a sniper. Like he got rolled. I don't think there was Anthony Richardson footage, but
I hope there is.
All I can envision is him like using the exercise band around his foot and then snapping back and just whacking him in the face, which would be the most Anthony Richardson thing ever.
Like a fractured orbital, whatever. Like that's not just like a slight eye stinger. That's like an actual like broken eye socket. And the fact that you can injure yourself with an exercise band in pregame warmups as a quarterback, like it's so bad, especially when the whole thing around him was that he can't stay healthy and that he's soft. And then he goes out and gets hurt from an exercise band in the eye and he can't play anymore. And they have to promote Riley Leonard to backup quarterback. That would be a disaster if Riley Leonard has to play a game. Like it's going to be so bad. It can't happen.
No,
it has to be Jason Bean.
If Riley Leonard ever has to step out there for the Colts, it's a dark time. Not just for Indianapolis, but for the whole world. It's just not a good
I'm
day.
not watching that game. You can't make me. I won't do it.
Oh, man. But a better game from a viewer's perspective, I would say, was the Chargers and Dolphins game. It's kind of similar to a couple of years ago. They put on quite the show. I think it was in week 1 or 2. Where there were a lot of fireworks. Tua looked like a franchise quarterback for like the one and only time in his career. Yeah. This time around, though, it wasn't quite as electric, but there were still some very big plays made. The Chargers kind of were forced to revert to like 2024 Chargers. They had no offensive line. Quentin Johnson, their field stretcher, was out. It was a lot of just like running the ball and Herbert getting it out as fast as he possibly can at low average depth of target. And McConkey finally getting forcibly back
and he
involved.
Looked great, didn't he?
It's a magic
He looked
thing.
Great. He looked outstanding. It was so stupid, the fact that they wouldn't give him the ball in favor of Quentin Johnston. Like, realistically, whoever Herbert is throwing the ball to is going to eat. It doesn't matter who it is. But it was Ladd and it was Kamani Vidal who looked fantastic. That little bowling ball, like he's part of the reason I love scouting. Like, he was one of my guys coming out of Troy, and then he got buried on their practice squad and never really got to play. But I thought they were going to do the whole Hassan Haskins is like a former Michigan player. He played with Harbaugh at Michigan. I thought they were just going to run that route and be really annoying about it, but he just played the hot hand. Like, I think he went into that, let them both play equal amounts, and whoever played better got to play more. And Vidal just outplayed him and got to play like the entire game. So that was really cool to see.
Another guy that kind of got an opportunity for the first time, a first genuine opportunity, was Trey Harris. And he really didn't do very much from a production perspective, but from all accounts that I could read and, kind of the resources I could look at, and even, the parts of the game I could watch and caught, he was tremendous blocking. He was a tremendous run blocker, and there was a ton of buzz after the game about finding ways to keep Trey Harris on the field, because of course the bread and butter of this team is running the ball, and they got away from it earlier in the season. But if they're able to find more success running to the outside behind Trey Harris, as they're going to have issues with their offensive line, then I think that's definitely something that Greg Roman will be all over. So maybe come the trade deadline, the Chargers will be a team that potentially has somebody available on the market, because that puts them with McConkey, Trey Harris, Quentin Johnson, Keenan Allen. Like, they have a few guys over there. Aronde Gadsden is, getting in the mix. So who knows?
Looked great.
He did. So they have weapons. They have more weapons than, you would expect for a Chargers team. And the names don't necessarily make it seem like it, but definitely not the worst thing ever to see Trey Harris finally doing something.
No, it pissed me off at one point during that game, because I look up and I see Bobby Hart is starting on an NFL football field in 2025, and he didn't even play bad. He gave up one pressure, no sacks. He was legit pretty clean on the right side, which is just nuts. And that pissed me off, because I remember him as a Bengals starter. He got like a big contract too. It was nuts. That was like a decade and a half ago. So the fact that he's still out here playing good football is sickening to see.
Well, I think Tua is also pretty sick in the head, because his post-game comments following a 3-interception performance definitely, were not warranted. Like, it's almost like Tua needs to learn the concept of TMI. Like, dude, we don't need to know that. Like, it's great that you're being honest, but we don't need to know that, your team is late to meetings and, all of this dysfunction is happening behind the scenes. It's like, we can assume it. We don't need the $1 million quarterback basically throwing everybody under the bus. It's just like the last thing that team needs right now.
The CTE is genuinely setting in. Like, it's not even like a joke anymore. Like, this is how every single like diva receiver starts, or every like diva running back. They just get CTE and go nuts. And it's the exact same thing. Like, he used to be such like a kind, humble, normal guy, and he just got weird all of a sudden. He just got so weird. And that kind of just comes from being beaten the head over and over and over again.
Yeah, I mean, that certainly doesn't help. And I mean, it just is one of those things where, like, where's your judgment, man? Like, I don't get it. And Mike McDaniel had to like clean it up after the fact, because of course he was asked about those comments, and he goes, yeah, but I don't even think there was any ill intent behind what Tua was trying to say. It's like, that's honestly kind of the problem. Like, he really doesn't realize like how that could be hurtful to the state of your organization, your job. Like,
you're fired, pal.
Yeah, like, you're gone. So
he's trying to save team chemistry, but no.
The only other note I had about this game was that the Dolphins defense, at least players specifically, like, it was one of their better showings. Like, I think Chop, Jalen Phillips, Bradley Chubb, consistent pressure on Herbert. Rasul Douglas, who it kind of is burning the Bills' asshole now that they opted for Trey Wright over Douglas, and Douglas has been the saving grace for that Dolphin secondary. He's been good, like, legitimately a rock solid corner for him.
That felt like the obvious thing all along, did it not? Like, I'm like, I just don't know if bringing in Trey White was ever like
Yeah.
the thing. The only issue with Rasul was the age, really.
Mm-hmm.
But that's kind of the same thing with Trey White. So I don't know. I always really wondered why Rasul was such a long free agent. Like it took him so long to even get signed, but so many teams, every team needs corners.
Mm-hmm.
And he was just sitting out there and he's played really, really well. Like I think he's just a guy people were overthinking. Which is pretty cool that Miami didn't, but they also kind of just were the most corner necessary team in NFL history. So
Yeah.
I'm glad to see they finally got like some kind of stability out of somebody.
Yep, agreed. I think looking back at it, the thought was Trey with Baltimore is coming off of a pretty strong end of the season, whereas Rasul kind of was playing worse and worse football as the season kind of progressed. Like he really wasn't looking like he could play any sort of man coverage at all, which I think is something that the Bills were trying to lean into more and more, and it was a limitation of his. So I think that's probably where their heads were at. So I can understand it. It just really sucks that the way things are going for Buffalo, and then seeing that, it's just like that's just another domino that fell the wrong way for them. But whatever, I'm over it. Who would have thought that Drake May and Spencer Rattler would put on a better, more impressive showing than a Caleb Williams, Jaden Daniels performance? Who would ever have thought?
That was a matchup for everyone that loves a high average depth of target game. Like it was just trading deep ball after deep ball, like deep pass after deep pass. Like there wasn't a single screen thrown in that game. It felt like neither team could run the ball. Neither team's defense was playing great. It was just guys getting open downfield, beautiful throws downfield. That was like an airmail fans game.
Yeah, it was so fun. Like there was so much excitement, and the refs hated it. The refs wanted no part of that, of the excitement in that game. I've never seen. I mean, that was probably the worst officiated game of the year, and that's a pretty tough milestone to achieve because I feel like week after week we're seeing like pretty bad jobs done by some of these crews, but that was just atrocious. So many big plays wiped off the board for so many petty calls that Stephon Diggs got called for. I think it was OPI on that deep shot. There was another touchdown wiped off the board for a petty OPI on Hunter Henry or something like that. Like it was just so damn bad. And it's a shame because this game could have been that much more fun from a production perspective, but I think we could still appreciate like the masterclass that Drake May and my boy Spencer Rattler put on tape.
Yeah, it's just like it's two teams that have kind of felt like they've been in the right direction all year long. And for the Patriots, like the wins are finally starting to add up, which is something that they've been needing for a long time. And the Saints, it's an uncomfortable thing because they're playing well enough and they're playing better than we thought, but the wins are just still not adding up. Like they're just as bad on paper now as the other worst teams in the league. So they're still going to be in like a weird draft position now where do you draft the high quarterback or do you roll with Rattler? Like, has he proved enough to be a franchise guy that you build around? Do you draft defense now? Like they're in a weird spot, but it's not always the worst spot to be in, especially if Rattler can, chunk off a couple more of these kind of games and give the coaching staff something to work with next year. They might just roll with him again and hope for the best.
I think they're almost in better case. I think this is almost like the best case scenario that they're getting such promising games from Rattler, but they're still not winning. It's like you can feel so much more confident about him being your starting quarterback while also maintaining what should be pretty high draft capital to help you build around him. I don't know, unless he really goes on to bomb the rest of the year, I don't know how you could go into next year's class and take really any of the guys right now, especially because I don't think there's a single quarterback playing college football that feels like a slam dunk franchise quarterback, and not one that's potentially going to step in and play better than Rattler at least. So who knows? Like I said, I think best case scenario is that they just keep losing and Rattler keeps just playing well.
Yeah. And those get Ruben Bain and have a stacked defense. Like that sounds pretty cool to me. But yeah, a really weird scenario for them. But like that's a team that you'd like to give a win to, even though they lost. But I think they're cool taking the L's and getting a high draft pick and starting off next year on a high note. But Patriots got another win. They don't deserve it. Their schedule's too easy. I hate them. Moving on now. They played really well. Kayshon Boutte played fantastic.
Oh my God.
Kool-Aid McKinstry got cooked by anybody. Pop Douglas showed up downfield, not in the Khalil Shakir role. Like he went downfield and cooked them. It was really cool rep.
It was. Yeah. Drake May, though, has been he's been as close to Josh Allen as the comps probably could have drawn him to. I mean, it is literally Superman-esque stuff from him. He supposedly, per I think CBS it was, is I hate using my phone. I need my monitor. Where did I write this? Oh, he has recorded 200 plus passing yards with a 100 plus passer rating in 5 straight games. And the only other players to do that in NFL history have been Patrick Mahomes, who did that 7 straight times, and Dan Marino, who did it 6 straight times. Like he's in some pretty elite company right now. And this is all with Kayshon Boutte, Stephon Diggs, who, is still playing good football, but is nothing to write home about at this stage, and a 32nd ranked EPA per play rushing attack, dead last. So
yeah,
he is really doing it all right now. And it's not even just showing up statistically, but some of the plays he's been making where the pocket's muddy, he's escaping, or he's like underhand flipping it to Travion Henderson while he's getting trampled. It's been all of the makings of a star quarterback. Like this guy is a top 10 quarterback right now, as far as I'm concerned.
You're about to hear he's better than Josh Allen soon. I'm sure.
I'm from a certain individual. I'm sure he already has that thing.
I'm sure.
The next game, Pittsburgh Cleveland is next on my list. I don't really
skip it, dude.
What a dastardly game. Like
it was just like Rodgers looked good, but like cool. Like they played well. They genuinely played well, but the Browns just have nothing offensively. Like Jerry Jeudy is their best player and he sucks this year bad. And if Judkins couldn't get going, like they didn't even give him that many carries. They gave Dylan Gabriel like 50 attempts. What is he supposed to do with that? He's hitting like Jamari Thrash in the face on the goal line and it's hitting him in the head. He's not even looking on a drag route. Like it was just the ugliest game. Like this is the first time I've truly seen the fan base get together and say, Stefanski's got to go, which is wild because they've had a couple really good games this year. Like they played the healthy Bengals close. They beat the Packers. And they had a really close game with a good Vikings team last week. But now they lose to a division rival that's pretty hot in the Steelers. And they all of a sudden think that they got to go. They're just, it's a weird franchise. I don't look too much into it, but not much to take away from that game. Like both teams kind of just showed us who we thought they were the whole time.
Yeah, it is pretty criminal though that Stefanski let Gabriel pass 52 times. The guy ends with 221 passing yards on 52 attempts. That is like, you have to try for that. You have to try for such a bad stat line. And according to Sumer Brain, the AI bot that tells you all the fantasy knowledge, really cool. You should check it out. Dylan Gabriel on those 52 pass attempts had 314 total air yards, whether caught or not, which is really that much worse when you think about it for 52 pass attempts. So it does make you wonder against the Steelers' defensive front, which has struggled against the run. The past 3 games, Judkins has averaged like 21 carries each. And now in this one, they never really were completely out of it yet. For some reason, Judkins was phased out and he just let Gabriel keep dinking and dunking his way into potential pick six after potential pick six. It just was, it was a questionable game plan, but not one that I would, like you said, call for Stefanski's neck over. Like it wasn't.
No.
the end of the world. They're
You're
bad.
basically in a tank year. Like you're not winning. You're not going to the Super Bowl this year. You're not going to the playoffs this year. I'm not that worried about Stefanski. Like there's not a lot to work with here. I don't think people understand. Like even Cedric Tillman has been their best downfield winner. He's out. Like they don't have anything to work with right now, and all of a sudden they think that they need to be pushing the ball downfield to who? David Bell? I don't like. I don't understand like the thought process here, but yeah, like not even a lot to go off of. Like I also noted that Herbig and Derek Carmen were the two best Steelers because they looked absolutely fantastic, and they've needed both of those guys to really step up and get healthy, and they have. And Broderick Jones shut down Myles Garrett somehow. That was nuts. But aside from that, everything else looked exactly how you would think a Browns and Steelers game would go.
Yeah, well, I think that was part of like the controversy post game was like Myles Garrett made a comment along the lines of, yeah, it's kind of hard to care when your team is that bad. And everyone's like, well, that's what you get for selling your soul for a quarterback's contract, which I'm sure he doesn't ultimately care that much at the end of the day. But still, yeah, I'm sure it is a bit aggravating to be giving your every ounce of effort every play just for 52 pass attempts and 200 yards. But that also begs the question, like, at what point do they turn to Shedeur Sanders? Do you think that it's time, or do you think Gabriel deserves another shot?
I think Shedeur Sanders would be dead. Like we would be seeing Instagram posts of like 2001 to 2025. Shedeur Sanders, rest in peace. He was a good man. Because his biggest problem in college was holding on to the ball too long, taking stupid sacks, making bad throws under pressure. Like you saw in the Nebraska game, that's like his biggest pressure game, and he got demolished. The playing against the Steelers is a much worse version of that. If you hold on to the ball against TJ Watt and Alex Highsmith and Derek Harmon and Nick Herbig, they will kill you. That's probably why the quick passing game was just such a thing. Like Gabriel can get the ball out quick. Like he can do that of all things. He can not get sacked and not, turn the ball over a ton. And he did just that. But yeah, I think it's a matter of like Shedeur's just not ready to handle a defense like that yet. He wasn't ready to handle a defense like Nebraska. Not to say he can't in the future, but just right now, I don't think he's prepared to handle that much pressure.
Right. And that's the other thing that like plays into the whole anti-Stefanski thing. It's like, oh, this is your quarterback. Gabriel's your guy. You got Sanders on the bench. It's like, and this is, of course, why nobody wanted to draft Sanders, because the second that there was an opportunity for him to potentially play, they're going to call for Stefanski to make the change. They're going to be like, play Sanders. And they're going to, people are going to play like the race card. Like the ridiculous shit that happens in situations like this is unfortunate. But this is exactly why he fell as far as he did. So I think after 2 games from the Gabriel experiment, we saw one that almost beat a Brian Flores defense, which I think is pretty substantial. And then another against another very good defense. Like these are 2 back-to-back units that are stacked with talent that you're expecting this third round rookie to look great against. I think that's a stretch. So you give him another chance. If he does look as bad as he did against the Steelers, then fine. But as far as I'm concerned, like he wasn't really helped, and you just kind of give him another shot before you decide to kick the can on him, because I don't think it was really his fault as much as people acted like it was.
No, he's an undeserved hot seat, in my opinion.
Yeah, agreed. Well, what's going on with Dallas? My God, I feel bad for Dak Prescott. I feel very bad because I'm not sure, well, actually, I won't say that. I was going to say, I don't know if anyone else really feels this pain, but 2024 Joe Burrow knows exactly what Dak Prescott's going through right now.
It was genuinely worse. Like it was so much worse. It was the exact same type of games, but like I don't understand why there's like a sympathy for Dak, and with Joe, it was just like, got to win those games, man. Sorry, buddy. You have 2 good receivers. You should be winning those games. But with Dak, it's like, oh, you poor baby. But I do get it. Like, there should be sympathy for all quarterbacks whose defenses give up 45 points a game, because Rico Dowdle is turning into like what 2014 Jay Ajayi right now, like rushing for back-to-back 200-yard games, like carrying my fantasy football team. He was great. And it was just lapses on the defense. Like Ted McMillan, Rico Dowdle all had receiving touchdowns. None of them were even bothered to be covered. They were walk-in coverage break touchdowns. That was the entire game, was just nobody was lined up where they were supposed to be. They sold Micah Parsons to bring in run defenders.
Yeah.
How's that going?
Literally.
It's even worse now, actually. And there's still guys defending that. We have a guy in the Discord defending that every single day, saying Micah doesn't have enough sacks. It's amazing. But yeah, Dak played great. George Pickens looked incredible, but that somehow just was not enough, because Rico Dowdle did literally whatever he wanted while smacking Cowboys defenders on the ass while he ran by him, saying "Buckle up, buddy," and he kept running by him. It was nuts. Like, it looked exactly like a Bengals game from 2024.
It was embarrassing the way the Panthers bullied the Cowboys. Like, the fact that the Panthers got the ball in a tie game with 6 minutes left and kicked the game-winning field goal, a buzzer-beating game-winning field goal on that same drive, it's harassment. I mean, that is like that is a violation. To be able to, that is Madden level clock milking. Like, that's what people do in Madden. And they were able to do it to a real life defense that supposedly, like you said, acquired run defenders. It just was, it was embarrassing for Dallas. And I feel bad because, like, we saw a few weeks back where Russell Wilson, Malik Neighbors, and Wan'Dale Robinson made the secondary look like they've never played football in their lives. And then just a few weeks later, the other half of the defense gets completely turned inside out as well. It's like they have been the poster child of worst defensive performances in multiple ways now. And there is no way to fix it in the short term. And Dak's not getting any younger. So they've really done themselves no favors. And of course, it's all Jerry Jones's fault. That's
I mean,
really
how long's he got, really?
Yeah, like, I don't know. We've talked about this before. That was an early episode conversation.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think he has that much longer. I mean, before Dak retires or gets bad, like, what, Dak's 32. Dak might suck by the time he's like 38. I think there's a 6-year window in there where he might slip or hurt something, like, something might happen to him. I think we could see some Jerry-less Dak years. I think it's possible.
I mean, like, at this point, like, whatever it takes, like, someone should hire. Can I say that?
I need money. I'm telling you right now. I think saying the word "should" is definitely like the illegal part in that.
Yeah.
I think saying I wouldn't be shocked if it happened. That's a little different. But saying I think someone should go hire someone to kill that guy. That's that might be bad, but either way, probably deserved. He's a football terrorist, and he is destroying one of the most well-loved football organizations in the world, and it's insane to see. But everyone hates the Cowboys, so no one's really mad.
I think the funniest part of this game to me was seeing Panthers fans crash out because Mike Jackson continued to line up over George Pickens. If you look up George Pickens, Mike Jackson on Twitter, the freakouts that I was reading earlier were second to none, and it was warranted. I mean, according to ESPN, Mike Jackson took it live on Raw television from George Pickens. He had 12 matchups against Pickens. He was targeted 8 times for 6 catches, 118 yards, and a touchdown. And Avero just, like, kept, like, telling him to do it. Like, you got it this time, buddy. Try again. Try again.
Well,
try
it was
again.
weird because he was like locked down the first 3 weeks of the year. Like Mike Jackson was getting his own separate posts. Like, wow, this 6'1" big corner is like doing pretty well. Like, this is kind of shocking. And then the last 3 games, he's been food. It's been bad.
Literally, it's been embarrassing. That's been the other thing too was I just hate that Bryce Young gets away with doing nothing again and wins the game. I'm a Bryce Young hater. I've moved on.
I knew this was coming. He's too short. Too short. Like he's turning into Jalen Hurts. Sub 200 yard passing games. Usually gets a turnover and wins the game off of just pixie dust and potion.
Literally, like he does nothing. Like, pass the wide open receivers. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
He's such a likable guy too, but his fans are like, he's heating up. Don't let him heat up. It's like, like the pass in question is like a wide open Enrico Dowdle on like a red zone scissors pass, like on Madden. It's just wide open. Like he hits him. Like, you see what Bryce just did? He did that. Like, well, hold on. That was a Dave Canales rep, if anything, but I'll let you have your fun.
You're not fooling me, Bryce. All right, you don't got me fooled.
Love the guy though.
Someone that I think has the world fooled, or at least maybe did before this game, was Trevor Lawrence. What do we think of Trevor Lawrence? I feel bad for that guy because I do think on one hand he is still not what he should be, but on the other hand, against Seattle, talk about harassment and violation. Every single jersey that was not his had an opportunity to smoke him or chase him down in this game. Like, he was pressured at a ridiculous rate. I think he was like the most pressured quarterback of any QB of the entire season. In fact, actually, he was the most pressured QB in a game since 2022, and the Titans pressured Mahomes 28 times. He was pressured 27 in this one.
And I feel like he played fine for that level of pressure. Like, I don't think he was that bad considering the circumstances.
Right.
Like, Seattle was putting together a really, really solid defense. And with Brian not playing up to standard and Travis Hunter apparently not really being an offensive player anymore, like, no Brenton Strange, no run game going on. Like, it was just a very unfavorable game for any quarterback to go into. He was very, very mid in this game, but at the same time, I definitely wouldn't say he was like the reason they lost or anything.
No, it's just is like he's such a weird case because last week there were so many high moments from him, and then there were also some lows. And for a guy that is 5 years into his career by now, he still looks like an underdeveloped second-year player. Like, he just has these erratic moments. He's not poised in the pockets, a lot of the time. The way he handles pressure is like flipping a coin. It's either the worst play of all time or the best play of all time. Like, these are tendencies you see from young guys that don't have the experience he does. So I still don't know how to feel about him. It's like you would think Drake May would look like what Trevor does this year and vice versa.
Yeah.
But it's just not the case. So I don't know. I feel like a lot of people are like, yeah, he's still great. Like, the film guys are like, yeah, he's still, one of the best. You just have to see it through. But the other hand is like, I don't know, man. Like, at this point, we should be seeing a little bit more. But
I think he's just average. Like, I think he's just going to be an average quarterback, and that's not a bad thing in the NFL. Like, you'll win games, and clearly they have. Like, they've won games with him. He's not being drastically bad enough. But at the same time, like they just got done beating the Chiefs last week. Like, it's just a roller coaster for them right now. But yeah, their defense didn't play great. They let JSN do literally whatever he wanted the entire game. Like, him and Darnold single-handedly beat them. They couldn't run the ball. No one else did anything. It was just those two. And they were better than anything that the Jags tried rolling out there. Brian kind of tried to have a comeback this week, but an offsides penalty kept him from getting a lucky ricochet touchdown, by the way. But he was hype. Everyone was hype, and the penalty drew it back, and they just couldn't find any offense after that.
No. And that's, where we start calling for Travis Hunter to start playing more offense because,
Mm-hmm.
he was the reason why that touchdown got called back. He lined up offside. It's just like, what do the Jaguars need right now? They need help. Trevor Lawrence needs help. They need to move the ball at a more consistent rate. And if he's being stretched mentally thin to the point where he can't handle an offensive play call or a playbook's worth of information to help you on that side of the ball, then maybe it's time to just kind of swallow your pride and play him on that side of the ball. Like, I think part of why they haven't kind of fully committed one way or the other is because they feel like, they gave the capital they did. They traded up for this generational prospect that can do all of these crazy things. So now we can't take him away from potentially doing that because of what we gave up for him. But at the end of the day, like, you just got to do what's best for your team. And maybe the best approach is, fully onboard him to the offense. And then when you have a simple Tampa 2 or man-to-man situation where he doesn't need to know fucking anything other than guard this area or guard this
Mm-hmm.
man, then you throw him out there on defense. And that's the capacity he plays over there. But you just can't have De'Ami Brown running around as your second top option anymore. So
No, he wasn't even good enough to do that in Washington last year. Like, he didn't do that till he got to the playoffs. Like, Luke McCaffrey was stealing his reps. That's how not good De'Ami Brown is. And for some reason, people felt like he was a decent enough second or third option. No, not on a team that has to be passing the ball this much. And Brian Thomas Jr. is still not very good so far this year. He just still. He's made improvements, but he's nowhere near that top 10 level still. He's not even top 30 right now. So it's wild to see. He's making a slight comeback, but they're seriously going to need him if they plan on making any kind of run.
Oh, absolutely. Well, speaking of teams that need people to make a run, that would be the Ravens. And safe to say they need Lamar Jackson because this team is the 32nd worst. This is the 32nd best team in football without Lamar Jackson. And the crazy part is that we kind of know that after last week's game against the Texans. And now this week we got another dose of Cooper Rush, this time against the Rams. But unlike the Texans, the Rams just can't get out of their own damn way. And they barely get to 17 points, some of which come off of a turnover by, I think, Zay Flowers. And it's like, how talented, how experienced can a team be, yet they still just make stupid mistakes and still can't convert in the red area? Like, the Rams are such a puzzling team that frustrate the hell out of me. But I know when push comes to shove, like, they'll be fine in the playoffs. Like McVay, Stafford, these guys, they'll figure it out. But right now, it's just like they have found ways to either lose games or make them a lot closer than they should be all season long.
Yeah, and they do that, but like situationally, they're usually so good. And I guess when you have someone older like Stafford, you're not always pumping the gas 24/7. And Puka's injury definitely put a lid on that for a little bit. Just relying on Devontae Adams, and I don't even know who else because I'm not. Did Tutu even play? I don't really remember seeing him.
I don't think so. No,
I don't think he did. So it was like Jordan Whittington was out there dropping passes. I remember that. Like, it was just a weird game. Terrence Ferguson has done nothing. Tyler Higbee was good though, and it was just like a really weird matchup. The Ravens have a talented squad on defense when they're healthy. It's just they have just been depleted. They've been completely wiped clean of all their players, and the Rams made some mistakes, but they still won. They still won handily too. Like Byron Young and Jared Verse combined for like 15 total pressures and got like 5 sacks. It was a nutty game, but still not something that you're celebrating as a Rams fan, but you feel good about any win.
The most notable thing about the Ravens in week 6 was the edge rusher that they, for whatever reason, just shipped off, had his first sack of the season 2 drives into his first game with his new team. So congratulations to Odafe Owe for recording his first sack of
and
the year.
He had 10 last year also. Like it's not like he's not capable. He had 10 last year. And for some reason he didn't do it yet at all. And then he gets moved on to LA and gets a sack in like 5 minutes. So really, really weird puzzling for whatever Zach Orr is doing over there in Baltimore.
Yeah, that seemed very on brand for the way the season's going for Baltimore.
Yeah, I mean, like even Kyle Van Noy had 14 sacks last season, and does he have any? Like nobody that produced last year is doing anything. It's really strange.
Yeah, well, these two games are probably the worst on the slate. This other one being the Titans and Vegas game. The, of course, biggest news coming out of this one was that Brian Callahan was fired. If this was finally what it took, I think the Cardinals game delayed it. I think if they lose that one, they probably fire Callahan after the Cardinals game, but they couldn't. You can't fire him after a win.
Yeah, and it was weird because they talked to Jeff Simmons after the game, and he was saying basically they knew this was coming. And he said this was coming off of their worst week of practice that he's ever had in his life. And that's after a win against a team that you just came back and beat. And for some reason you have the worst week of practice of your life. That makes no sense. This should have been the highest week in Titans in a long time. Finally saw some Cam Ward stuff. Finally a defense didn't destroy them. And then they played the Raiders, who have had a bad defense all year, and Devin White, a bunch of random guys from 2019 Madden rosters were destroying them. And it was really strange. It was really, really weird. J.C. Latham came back from injury and gave up 4 sacks. It was a bad game. Really, really bad game from literally everybody involved, including Cam Ward.
Yeah, I mean, Jeffrey Simmons is that he needs to be freed. Talk about top 5 guys that need to be freed from their active imprisonment. Jeff Simmons is at the top of that list.
I don't think the general world understands how good Jeffrey Simmons is playing right now, but this is legit first team all pro level pass rush ability. He is up there with, I think he's now past Myles Garrett in pressures on the season now. He is coming for titles at this defensive tackle spot, and no one gives a shit because he's a Titan. But he has a chance to be really heavy in this trade market, and I hope he does. I hope he's a Bear or a Bill or wherever he goes, somewhere, and go be fruitful.
Yeah, please, I beg, because he just is getting wasted. I'm sick of these defensive players getting wasted in these just desolate situations. But I wonder, who would you say are your top candidates for the Titans now that Callahan's gone? They'll be in the cycle next year.
I don't even know who's going to be in the cycle. But I feel like somebody that has some kind of track record with developing quarterbacks. That has to be your main focus. It's not Callahan. He's never been a developer. He's always just been an X's and O's guy. It's somebody like a Cliff Kingsbury, like a Joe Brady, which are obviously the two biggest, obvious picks to be your head coach. But also both of them have had legitimate skill and helping to develop a quarterback in some way. And especially a quarterback that's kind of erratic. And I think that's kind of Cam Ward's biggest problem. So I do really like Cliff Kingsbury for their position. And I've seen some people talk about it already, but the fit makes a lot of sense to me, especially with Cam Ward's development and running the kind of offense that can actually spring him forward.
Mm-hmm. The only other name between the two you mentioned that I thought could be in that conversation by the end of the season was Clint Kubiak. Sam Darnold is playing the most efficient ball of any quarterback in football. The offense is clicking at a peak Kyle Shanahan rate. If this continues, then I think he will probably be the hottest commodity, especially if Joe Brady keeps doing the fuckery that he's been up to these last couple weeks.
Oh my God.
So if he wants to keep bombing his way out of the Titans job, then Clint Kubiak can swoop in and we'll gladly keep Joe Brady if this is what it's all about. But yeah, I mean, as far as the Raiders go, Genty lost 5 yards on a stretch play halfway through the second quarter. I don't even know if it's like possible. Like a random 2nd and 9 carry loses
He was
5
sacked.
yards, literally sacked. And Geno Smith threw his government mandated interception. So
that he likely will not take blame for.
it's literally
It's so bad. Like I think he actually did end up saying that like this is just a really unlucky season for him.
okay.
Like after that game, he's like, I've just had a lot of bad luck. It was a horrible pick, man. Like there's nothing to say about it. It was just a bad pick directly into their chest. Like you just threw the bad pick. He's like, I swear, man. I swear it's not me. Bryce Young has a voodoo doll of me. He's making me mess up. Somewhere Quando Rondo is making me mess up, and I can't explain why.
He had the audacity to say that a lot of his picks were deflected, and then goes and throws a ball directly to a Titans player the following week.
Yeah, like we posted about that. Like the comments are like, "Yeah, you posted the one that wasn't deflected, smart guy." Like they're trying to defend him. Like, what do you mean?
That was exactly.
Don't defend him. He's defending himself enough. You baby.
Oh man, how about the Packers and Bengals game? From a Bengals fan's perspective, was it a breath of fresh air? Was it frustrating?
Yeah,
What were your
that was much
thoughts?
better than I thought it would be. I thought that was gonna be like the Vikings game, the Broncos game on steroids, but they had like a new life to them. Like obviously they weren't perfect and they lost the game pretty easily, but they were in it towards the end. Like an onside kick away and they are in that game. And it was just seeing Joe Flacco throw the balls inbounds and letting his receivers get a chance. Like that was the first time T had probably more than like 3 receptions all year. Jamar finally got to get going again. That's all the fans want to see. Like we just want to see Jamar get, that 15 target game again. We want to see T Higgins get more chances. And it was nice. And the defense shockingly wasn't like getting demolished. They made a couple stops, couple turnovers. Like it was a decent game all around, just to a team that is a Super Bowl contender. So I wouldn't say it was like the worst loss in the world at all.
No, that was about as good as close to best case scenario as I think it could have been. Like they were, like you said, an onside kick away from having a chance. They were without Trey Hendrickson, but they were still playing pretty stiff defense. And it's unfortunate because like DJ Turner played like the best game of his entire life, and it goes to waste. Like holy shit.
Him and Dax Hill have put on a couple of like really nice games at the expense of Cam Taylor-Britt just being the worst thing ever. But yeah, DJ Turner put on one of the best Bengals defensive performances I've ever seen. It was nuts.
Really? Yeah, he was all over the place. But yeah, I mean, it was nice just to see the talent back on display. Like it was hilarious seeing Carrington Valentine have the nerve to gritty on an overthrow to Chase, and then he goes and baptizes his 2 teammates. Like, yeah, that's the best receiver in football that you're taunting. Like, I really don't think Jamar catches that ball in double coverage if he isn't pissed off. Like, I think that motivated him.
He is a player like that. Like, he is like of that Steve Smith cloth of just like playing better when he's pissed at you.
Mm-hmm.
And he saw that gritty, scored a touchdown, then gritted the hardest gritty he's gritted in a long time. It was sick.
It was. But, yeah, the Packers, on the other hand, though, like they're just such a weird team. Another one, they're like reminiscent of the Rams in a way. Just 2 teams that have so much talent. It feels like they should be killing teams, but they just don't. At the end of the first quarter, the Packers had 114 yards to the Bengals 1, and it was tied at 0. Like, what the fuck?
Yeah, like Jordan Love threw a dumb forced pass that got picked off by Geno Stone because DJ Turner got his hands on it. And then like they were forcing field goals and punts. Like they were clearly the better team all game long. And they got the yards to prove it. But for some reason they just weren't executing enough. And the Bengals were executing dumb 2 fourth down touchdowns. Like they were just allowing way too much stupid stuff to go by. And you can't like keep having that kind of stuff happen if you're going to be a contender. Like that's how they lost to the Browns. That's how they had a close game to Flacco 2 times. It was weird.
Yeah, it was. That's just the Packers' MO, though. It just has been letting the opposing team hang around, and then
Uh-huh.
Jordan Love is put in a position to actually do something, and then the result of the game is based on whether or not his bozo gene or sicko gene comes out. And fortunately for them, on 3rd and 8, the sicko gene was the one that emerged, and he made a sick throw under pressure to Golden downfield, who himself had probably the closest thing to a breakout game that you
was
can
great.
see, and explosive. The hands were on display. His hands are so good. He made a few good catches down the sideline. So
Mhm.
love to see that, but he'll probably never see over a 60% snap share because that's just what the Packers do. But
Yeah, even though he was fantastic, but yeah, let's just keep him on the bench. I love it.
the 49ers would love to have a guy like Matthew Golden right now because they're
God, they
about
would.
as dead as it gets. Kendrick Bourne goes for 150. Mac Jones throws for 350. I really think if it weren't for Shane Steichen, that I think Kyle Shanahan would be, my front runner right now. And he still might be, like, even after a loss. They had a chance to win this game late. Mac Jones got fooled by coverage and threw a pick. But the fact that they were even in the game without Fred Warner, who broke his ankle, Nick Bosa dead, George Kittle dead, every receiver dead. Like, there's nothing. This is just the skeleton crew of the
Yeah.
49ers, and they're
Seeing
fighting.
Fred Warner dead sucked just so bad. Like
Mhm.
he's always been the healthy one. He's always been the one that just like helps will that defense to do something. Among Nick Bosa being injured every year, Kittle's injured every year. It was always Warner. He was always the guy that just wasn't hurt and could help lead them to something, but didn't happen. Trent Williams was throwing fits all game long. He got thrown to the ground by a corner. Like, it was just a bad game overall. And like, they brought Jawan Jennings back and he had 3 yards, and they were just refusing to do anything else but throw balls to CMC and Kendrick Bourne. And Baker Mayfield had a couple plays that might win him MVP ultimately because he was just going nuts himself with no receivers.
Yep. They both experienced the same thing. Apparently Jennings is playing with 5 broken ribs.
Yeah, just tell me that shit before I put you in to a deep fantasy football league, because
Right?
like if we're in a deep league here and I see that I need help and I put in a receiver that's capable of scoring 30 points and he gets 3 targets, catches 1 for 3, I'm gonna kill him.
Well, I don't blame you because, yeah, those are the kinds of things. That's like what T. Higgins did a couple of years ago. He
Yes.
started the game, but then decided, I don't feel like it, and then didn't play.
No,
Fuck
Jawan played
everyone
the whole
over.
damn game.
Yeah, he did.
He played like every snap. I bet he had 100% snap share. Every time I looked on that field, I was like, because I had like no points going into the 4th, and I was like, is 15 not playing? Oh, no, there he is. Blocking. Like, he's just out there. Like, he was out there the whole game. And he got 1 catch. I was so upset.
Yeah, I mean, it is puzzling. Like, as depleted as they are, like, why is he not like a focal point? I guess when you have Kendrick Bourne, you don't need Jawan Jennings. So I don't know. It just is puzzling given how broken they are. But
He's a Purdy product, I think. Like, I think like
yeah,
there is something to that. Like how some pitchers just have their catcher they prefer. I think that some quarterbacks just have their guy that they prefer to throw to. That's
yeah.
Bourne, apparently. Like, Mac Jones knows Bourne so well. He's thrown to him so many times in New England.
hmm
They just have that connection. And apparently Jawan Jennings is just another stick in the mud. He's no better than Jake Tunges, apparently. He's just cardio machine.
Well, Baker, on the other hand, likes everybody because I think he completed a pass to almost every. I think he's completed a pass to probably more receivers on a singular team than compared to any other quarterback because they've been rolling
Yeah.
through receiver injuries too. They were without Godwin, Evans. They lose Egbuka in this game. McMillan's hurt. Like, literally everyone's dead. And then the 140-pound Tez Johnson, right? That's his name, right? Tez
Yeah.
Johnson. I can't even think.
Yeah.
Is catching deep post touchdowns with his fingertips. It, like you said, was another game where Baker Mayfield can hang his hat and say, yeah, that's why I should be the MVP, because I am making plays with my legs. I'm fighting through tacklers. I'm throwing to nobodies. My offensive line was really hurt at one point, and I still made that work. Like, there's not been a single circumstance that Baker Mayfield hasn't navigated and pulled through.
Yeah, and whoever the hell Cameron Johnson is also had 65 yards and a touchdown. I honestly don't know. I don't know who that is.
Cameron with a K, right?
Yeah, like, I've heard the name before, but that was his first NFL catch. Was in that game.
Oh my God!
At least this season. That's nuts. That is so insane.
Yeah. Well, at least for Tampa, unlike Mac Jones, Baker had some pressure coming from his defense, because I think Vita Vea, Yaya Diaby, and Hassan Reddick, I think they totaled 14 pressures themselves, and 10 different players on Tampa recorded at least one pressure. Like, they were getting after Mac. And that's been what I would say an overlooked storyline for the Bucs, is that their defense has played really damn good football to pair with Baker Mayfield's heroics. So that's why they're the team they've been so far.
Sure.
But the last game, Kansas City and Detroit. This was a fun one. I think it was highly anticipated. I won't say it fell short of expectations, but I will say that the Chiefs are probably the best team in football, which of course they are.
They lost the Jags last week, and now they're perfect again.
Yep.
Somehow, it's just so annoying. It's really just so annoying. I don't understand how they keep doing this, but they do.
Yeah,
they're back
when they need it. It just is like losing to the Jaguars. It was bizarre, but it's early in the season. Every team has a blunder like that. But the couple games that they've played between the Ravens game and now this Lions game against two contenders, at least at the time the Ravens were, and their backs were kind of up against the wall, and they played the best football that we've probably seen from any team, all year long already. So it's scary to see what it looks like when they really, really want to win. It's not right.
No, and they have Rashee Rice coming back at the perfect time. So this is going to be we haven't really seen a team step up.
No,
I'd say Tampa's been the most impressive team because of how they've dealt with injuries too. They've performed well and they've had adversity and they've done really, really well through it. But KC's had their own adversity and they struggled to start, but they're coming back hot.
Yeah, they are. I am of the belief, at least as of right now, until the Chiefs kind of change this, that everybody sucks. Every team just sucks. Every team has a major flaw or a big blemish that is, sticking to their resume. It just feels like all of the teams have at least something that I'm like, damn, that's going to hold them back. So until the Chiefs, change that.
Yeah.
But that will cover every game from week 6. If you guys enjoyed, as always, feel free to comment, subscribe, share, and we will see you guys in episode 67.